Ladies and gentlemen, babies and elephant, welcome to another new video. My name is Bosley, and today I want to bring for you guys Righteous Fire Inquisitor. This is the one build that I've played a long time ago. I think about 4 to 5 leagues ago, and the experience was quite hard because there's a lot of changes in between now and then. And then now it's a lot more achievable, and it's a lot more achievable at the lower levels right now compared to what it was before, for me at least. So I've been having a lot of fun with this build. The clear speed is just amazing, especially with these boots called Legacy of Fury, which is the biggest change, the biggest impact in terms of clear speed for the Righteous Fire builds. So I'm going to go deep dive into the build and explain how the build works and share with you guys. Okay, so first off, we're going to talk about the Ascendancy. So the Ascendancy we are actually using is the Inquisitor. So the Inquisitor actually gives us a ton of life and energy shield regen, which allows us to maintain our health regen while the Righteous Fire is doing damage to our character. Okay, so the first off, but the thing is, you can't use Righteous Fire at very, very early start of the league, especially as early start of the your character. You can, I would say, it's achievable for you to reach, to be able to use Righteous Fire when you reach at least level 60 and above. That will be a safe zone, I guess. As soon as you got your third, I would say your third Ascendancy point, that's when it's safest to actually use Righteous Fire without dying too much. If you try to struggle by using Righteous Fire at lower levels, you still can, but you're going to run into troubles with survivability and single target and all that. So I wouldn't suggest playing Righteous Fire at a very low level character. At least for about, I would say the safe bet will be around the third Ascendancy point. That will be the safest choice to switch to Righteous Fire. Now, before that, there are a ton of fire skills that you can actually try to use. You can use Armageddon Brand, you can use Rolling Magma, all sorts of fire skills that whichever that, suits your liking, right? But then, as soon as you want to switch to Righteous Fire, you're gonna need a very decent amount of regen in order to start using Righteous Fire. But now with Inquisitor, it's a lot more achievable and it's a lot more easier. So first off, when you pick Inquisitor, the first skill you want to pick is Righteous Providence. Now this one gives us crit chance per point of strength and intelligence, whichever is lower, and it gives us 50 strength and 50 intelligence. Now in this early stage of the character, this is when you need the crit chance to actually clear a lot faster in terms of maps, in terms of acts and stuff like that. So that is the first choice, I would say. And then after that, you want to pick up as soon as you can. You pick up Sanctuary. This is where you actually start getting consecrated ground, which gives you a huge life regen, and it will give you what we call 15% increased damage taken by the enemies who are on the consecrated ground. Then the third Ascendancy point, you're going to pick up Pious Path. This is when your consecrated ground life regen also affects your energy shield regen, and also increase of 50% increase the effect of the consecrated ground you create, and it will linger for 4 seconds. Now, as soon as you pick up this one, you are very, very safe from using Righteous Fire. Of course, with the enough, I would say, right amount of fire resistance, you should be fine. And then last but not least, you want to pick up Augury of Penitence. This is where nearby enemies take increased elemental damage and nearby enemies deal less elemental damage. Now this is the choices. So 1, and then 2, 3, and then 4. That's the Ascendancy for Inquisitor. Then you should be pretty solid, I would say. Okay, we're going to talk about the gear choices. Now the gear choices here, I would say in terms of clear speed, the most important gear for clear speed, Legacy of Fury. As soon as you get these boots, you will see huge difference in terms of clear speed, because nearby enemies will be scorched and dealing 8% of their life as fire damage per second to all the nearby enemies, which is really, really, really cool, especially for clear speed. Increased effect of the Scorch, nearby enemies are scorched, movement speed and armor and evasion. So you will try to get what do you call the trials, the anoint, no anoint, yeah. Okay, so the implicit, the anoint, the enchant, sorry, the boot enchant, you will either want to get regen, Free Shock Ignite will be good as well. Move speed is fine. These are the few ones that you actually need. You do not need any crit or crit multi, attack speed. Fire damage to attacks, I think there is something like that. Added fire damage, I'm not too sure. But I would say Free Shock Ignite, Move Speed, and Regen, these three will be the optimal choice for in terms of enchanting the boots, okay? Now the weapon, you actually want to go for something that gives you fire damage, fire dot multi, and damage over time. Now these are the three things that will actually affect your fire damage for your Righteous Fire and your Fire Trap. Now if you're using burning damage as well, but please bear in mind, do not use anything that gives spell damage, because spell damage does not actually affect your Righteous Fire damage output. Only fire damage, burning damage, even fire damage through spells doesn't really help. So fire damage, burning damage, fire dot multi, and all fire skill gems. Now if you want to get all fire skill gems with all these mods over here, it's going to be quite pricey. So I would say just get, you can actually just use essences to get fire damage, and then after that you can craft on fire dot multi, and you're actually pretty solid and you're good to go. Actually, I've been rocking another weapon. I think I can find it somewhere here. I've been actually using another weapon, and it brought me all the way up to level 90 without any problems. So I was pushing more damage. Yeah, this one. So this one I actually used the spell damage, which I didn't know. So I used the spell damage essence to craft this one. But the most important stat here you can see here is the fire dot multi. Actually, I was using this weapon, fire dot multi, and increased damage over time. That's it. I was using this all the way up to level 90. Okay, so this is a very, very, very. You don't have to worry too much on the weapon damage. Okay. Most importantly, you want to get a scepter. You can either get an opal scepter or you can get a void scepter. Most importantly, you want to get the implicit that has 40% increased elemental damage. Now, elemental damage does help your Righteous Fire damage output, okay? In terms of the helmet, you want to get, either you buy the helmet or either you craft it yourself, but I would suggest buying it because it's going to be a lot cheaper. So you want to buy the helmet, and the helmet, which is Elder Influence. Most importantly, you want to get Socketed Gems, deal 30% more elemental damage, which comes from the essences. And on top of that, you want to try to get additional Socketed Gems supported by burning damage. Immolate is fine, but the damage DPS is going to be lower. Burning damage will be optimal choice, and Consecrated Effect will be optimal choice in terms of damage output. And then other than that, you can get anything else like you need, like Life Resist. Chaos Res is very important in the build as well, and if you can craft on Socketed AoE gems with increased area effect. Now this is a bit different from what everyone is. Most of the players are actually using Dawnbringer, which gives you a lot of survivability in terms of converting a lot of the damage that you take into fire damage, because your fire damage naturally will be the highest. But I actually was using Cephal's frame, and it's actually a very good alternative, I would say, because it gives you a huge chunk of block spell damage. It gives you elemental resist. It gives you 4% to all maximum resistances, and increased spell damage, but that doesn't do much. And it cannot block attacks. So in this build, we don't block attacks, we only block spell damage because we have huge chunk of armor. So whether or not we are blocking attack damage doesn't really affect us all that much. But most importantly, we want to worry about the elemental damage. Now this one can actually push all our elemental resistances a lot further. So all my cold and lightning resist, I have about 82%. And fire resist, I have about 84%. Now this is actually a very good alternative compared to using Melding of the Flesh, because if you want to use Melding of the Flesh, which is the unique duel, that reduces 75% to all your resistances. Now that if you use that, you can actually push a lot more better than what I have right now. But the problem is, you're going to spend a lot more currency in the build just to get all the resistances every here and there, and you're going to lose out some DPS as well. So I would say this is more budget and cheaper option. Well, at least I enjoyed it, and it brought me all the way to level 90, so I wouldn't complain. I would say this is a very, actually, quite a viable option as well for you guys to try out. In terms of armor, you want to try to get an armor that has armor and energy shield. The reason, there's two reasons why. It gives you huge chunker and energy shield. And second, it's easier to roll the color sockets for blue and red. Because if you go for full armor armor plates, you can only roll red, and it's going to be hard to roll blue because you want to roll 3 blues. So you're going to need armor, energy shield, strength, intelligence armor, so it's easier for you to roll the colors. Otherwise, you're going to have a big problem try to roll the right colors for your sockets. Okay, so you can get this armor for I think like 20-30C on the market, and then after that you want to get the Eldritch mods. You're going to get increased fire damage, or you can actually get increased effect of determination and stuff like that. You know, for this I'm just crafted a life, some resist armor, energy shield, and also additional physical damage reduction. My armor is actually not that high, about 76%, but as soon as my flask pops up, which brings up to 81%, I think it should be quite solid. Elemental resist fire will be 84, 82, 82 over here. Life regen is about 729 and 810. The reason why it used to be about 1000, but it dropped because I had to spec into Divine Judgment, so I get the Elemental Mastery. So this gives me a lot more DPS. I had about 3.7 million DPS, and now I have about 5.4. So it gives me about 1.7 additional DPS to sacrifice a little bit of the regen. So you have to play it a bit smarter, but if you're worried about dying, then you have to not worry about the DPS and spec off this one and try to pick up all the nodes over here, which is Warrior's Blood and Heart of the Warrior. So this one gives you more life and regen. So the gloves will be... Okay, the gloves, you want to get anything that fills up your life and your chaos rest and any other rest that you have. But the most important thing about the gloves is that you want to inflict fire exposure on hit and fire damage over time multiplier. These are the two most important implicit mods for the Eldritch mods that you want to get on your gloves. Now, actually, a word of advice. My experience, I had a glove before, and I wasted about almost 200 chaos just trying to roll these two mods on buying Eldritch currencies to craft it, and I gave up. I actually just bought a glove and craft the glove mods myself to save me all the trouble. It only cost me like 40C. So I would suggest just buy the gloves with the two mods with around 30 to 40 chaos. It's better that way rather than wasting all the currency like I did. The rings, you want to use both opal rings because this one gives you a huge chunk of elemental damage. And then you want to get fire damage crafted on it with life, chaos rest crafted on it as well. And if you're having trouble because you're reserving a lot of mana, so you have trouble with casting your skills for shield charge and also frostblink, you can craft this non-challenge skills have -7 total mana cost. For the amulet, so actually the amulet, right, I would suggest you get the marble amulet because the marble amulet implicit gives you 1.6% life regen, which is huge. You can actually buy the marble amulet influenced by Shaper from the the PoE trade market for about 20 to 30 chaos. It's actually very, very cheap. I was so surprised. I actually bought one and then I crafted the mods on myself. The reason why you want to use Shaper influence, because I wanted to get the 10% mana reservation efficiency of skills and the maximum energy shield on it crafted, and also using the essence to craft the fire damage and then everything else that I need. Also, you want to get some dexterity on all your rings and your amulet. That's where you get the dexterity. Now, I would say the most important piece of gear in the whole build will be the replica soul tether, because this one gives us corrupted soul. This is the reason why our build is so it's a bit more on the, I would say mid-range. I would say high-end. I would say mid-range priced. So this one will be quite important because this one will give us a huge chunk of energy shield. Now, if I take this off, I only have 800 energy shield. This one bumps me up to 2000 energy shield. So it gives me extra 1200 energy shield, which is huge. Now, you can still actually not use this one. You can use something like this. So what I crafted here, which is this one, which is quite good as well. This one gives me about 140 flat energy shield, life, chaos, rest. And this one brings me about up to 1k. It's not too bad, but you can use this one. Huge chunk. So if I use this one, my chaos rest will be capped at about 66%. If I use this, I only have like 38%, which is not too great. Okay. So remember, There are a few choices you can do. This is what you can do for the gear choices. Now, next I want to talk about the gem links. Now the gem links here, the auras we'll be running is that Determination, Malevolence, and Purity of Elements. So this build is actually Curse Immune, Ailment Immune, High Armor, and High Resistances for your Elemental Resistances. And I would say block spell damage will be high, but these 4 things will give you a lot of layers of survivability for your build. So these 3 are the raw auras I'm rocking right now. For the helmet, you want to run Fire Trap with Trap and Mind damage, Swift Affliction, and Life Tap support. For the shield, I'm using Shield Charge, Fortify, and faster attacks. For the main gem link will be Righteous Fire, Burning Damage, Elemental Focus, Increased Area Effect, Life Tap, and Swift Affliction. Now, if you go for single target bossing, you want to switch your Conk Effect to Increased Area Effect. So you have this. Then you get more DPS. This one gives me about 420k per second, and this one gives me about 299k. So that's the difference. So this is the main gem link. For the gloves, I'm using Flammability with Combustion, Frost Blink, and Awaken Hex Touch. So as soon as you blink over, and then you will cast Flammability to all the surrounding area enemies, which are on the the Frost Blink area. Okay, and last but not least, the Enduring Cry with Molten Shell, increased duration, and Life Tap as well. So our Molten Shell will be triggered using Life Tap. Mana will be used on Shield Charge and Frost Blink. And then you want to keep Enduring Cry on your left click. So Enduring Cry gives you a huge chunk of regen every now and then. And then after that, Fire Trap. And then those are skills that you'll be rocking that will get you running. Now next up, we're going to talk about the flask choices. The flask choices, I'm using Ruby Flask, Quicksilver Flask, Topaz Flask, Granite Flask, and Amethyst Flask. You can use all of these flasks, but the most important thing about the flask here is that you want to get this mod, which is gain charges when you are hit by enemy. In order to get automated flask choice that you don't have to click the flask, you will need gain flask charges hit by enemy. First off, you need to get, I would suggest getting a flask that is item level 85 and above. That's number 1. Because without that, you can't get all the gain charges when you're hit by enemy. So make sure you get item level 85 and above to be safe. And then after that, everything else will be up to you. Okay. So if you want to get really, really good mods on the bottom with the gain charges, it's going to cost you quite a sum of currency. But just most importantly, get the gain charges first. And then as soon as you roll gain charges on when you are hit by an enemy, you want to go to your bench craft, and then you want to look for full. And then you just craft on use when charges reach full. Craft this on your flask, craft it all on it, and then basically you have automated very, very mini version of Mage Blood. Very, very mini version of Mage Blood. Okay? So you get automated flask charges, and it will be running as you run your build for extreme lazy mapping. For the Pantheons, you want to be running Arokali and Soul of Yugal. But Soul of Yugal, you have to make sure you get the soul for reduced effect of curses on you. I want to show you guys the skill tree and also the POB. So in POB here, we are rocking about 5.3 million DPS over here. And then after that, the skill tree here, this is where you want to rock it. Okay, so this is basically the skill tree. I'm going to share the POB in the link description as well, so you can check out the skill tree and follow if you want. And then mainly everything here is all here. The anointment on the amulet will be Arsonist, so this one gives you a lot of life regen per second and fire damage over time. So you'll be starting over here, picking up all the nodes right down here, and then pick up all the nodes all the way up here, and after that you want to move all the way down here. So in details, you can check out the POB. I'm not going to waste much of your time explaining all the information over here. But most importantly, we have a decent amount of life, eat energy shield, regen, defensive layers, and DPS. I would say the pros and cons on the build will be the mapping experience. I would say it's very, very easy, lazy, and fun, and really, really good clear speed. for a Righteous Fire build. Single target, I would say it's okay. It's not the best, definitely. You'll struggle single target, especially when you're fighting pinnacle bosses or big bosses like Uber Elder and all that. You will definitely struggle in terms of single target for that. But then in overall, in terms of mapping, map bosses, clear speed, even doing all the Lake of Calandra mods and everything, you'll still be able to get by without a problem with single target. But if you really want to be efficient on killing single target, you need to push a lot more on the DPS. But overall, all in all, very, very fun build to play with. Now, if you guys have any suggestion or any comments, please drop a comment in the description comment section down below. If you like my video, please like and subscribe to my channel. And I hope I see you guys on the next video. Peace out.